I have a feeling United is coming back. This is what Pep Guardiola said about Manchester United last season. Sure, the Red Devils showed massive improvement during the previous season after the catastrophic 2021 to 2022 campaign. After winning the EFL Cup and finishing third in the league, many expected United to maintain their upward trajectory. But to everyone's surprise, the club went on to have their worst ever start to a season with 6 losses out of the first 10 games in all competitions. So what happened to Manchester United? Why the sudden decline after the signs of promise showed last season? Hit those like and subscribe buttons and make sure to watch till the end of the video to find out. We will start with the most obvious reason behind this downfall. Injuries. Luke Shaw, Rafa Varane, Lisandro Martinez, Wan-Bissaka, Tyrell Malacia, Amad Diallo, Kobbie Mainoo, Mason Mount, Sofiane Amrabat, and Rasmus Højlund have all either been injured or are currently sidelined. That's 10 players who are either starters or could fight for a starting position under Ten Hag. The Dutchman wasn't able to field his strongest starting 11. He had to put the likes of Amrabat and Lindelof at left back to cover for Shaw and Malacia's injuries. Even Sergio Reguilón, who was brought as a backup fullback, got injured. Sure, big clubs should not be affected by injuries, which brings us to the second reason behind United's downfall. It's squad planning. The club spent hundreds of millions of euros in recent transfer windows, but still has an unbalanced squad. One injury or one suspension can affect the dynamics of the whole team. We already saw that happen last season when Casemiro got suspended for 3 games. More injuries to the likes of Højlund and Mount, and Manchester United will have to field last season's first 11, which highlights the club's poor squad depth. You might think we are criticizing the players brought by Ten Hag last summer. Absolutely not. Højlund, Mount, Amrabat, Reguilón, and Onana still have the time to shine. However, we are criticizing the club's poor recruitment strategy that left the squad a few injuries away from returning to last season's lineup. What's wrong with last season's team, you say? Well, some players displayed a fragile mentality during the current campaign. United started well in the majority of their games this season. Against Tottenham, they were the better side in the first half, putting well-organized pressure and suffocating Spurs' build-up. Against Arsenal, they kept the ball well in their own area, invited the Gunners' press, and surpassed it with quick passes. And they did the same against Bayern. But what happened in all 3 games? They lost. After 20 minutes, the performances always seemed to drop off, and once United conceded the first goal, everything went downhill. Players start to make simple mistakes. Check how many errors they committed that led to goals. United conceded at least 1 goal per game caused by a silly mistake. Onana, Casemiro, Lindelof, and Dalot have all been responsible for errors leading up to goals. This highlights the poor mentality of some players. But mentality isn't the only issue. Players who performed well in the last campaign have massively dropped off. Rashford, Bruno, Lisandro, who had to play with an injury, and Casemiro are not performing at their best. And again, the squad depth issue emerges as these players have no serious competition for their places. And while players assume their share of responsibility, Erik Ten Hag is also guilty for the club's current form. The playstyle of aggressive pressing and creating transitional moments isn't suited to the profiles he has in his squad. Instead, he should have adopted a more pragmatic style, just like last year, especially with the many injuries he had to deal with. The overall atmosphere surrounding the club is also not helping. The Greenwood situation, followed by Antony's case and topped off by Sancho's rebellion acts, has undoubtedly affected the locker room. And talking about outside factors, we can now mention the main reason behind United's downfall, not only this season but since Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement. It's the club's ownership. Manchester United might be the worst run club in the world under the Glazers. The issues we mentioned before of squad depth, poor planning, and even the negative locker room environment are caused by the incompetence in the club's hierarchy. To make it worse, the Glazers have put the players, manager, and supporters in uncertainty for almost a year by placing the club for sale and then proceeding to stall the negotiations, resulting in a foggy picture of the club's future. Put all these factors together, and you will get a recipe for disaster. While the players and manager assume their share of responsibility, the club's overall atmosphere is suffocating for anyone to work in peace and showcase their true potential. Manchester United went into the international break in the best way possible after winning against Brentford thanks to McTominay's late brace. Now, with some injured players returning and the ownership situation finally becoming a bit clear as Sir Jim Ratcliffe became the favorite to own the club might eventually find some stability, which will help the team perform better. But what do you think? Will the Red Devils go back to their glory days? Or is it a club beyond repair after several years of incompetence and reckless management? Share your thoughts in the comments, and remember to hit those like and subscribe buttons for more content.